It's Brian Preston, the Money Guy.
All right, Brian, this next question, this is a Facebook question. This is from JD. JD said, the S&P 500 gets most of the love when it comes to passive indexing. I would agree with that. Most people quote the S&P 500. Many folks extend their investing to the total U.S. market, often shunning international equities, especially in light of recent U.S. outperformance. But as financial mutants, should we not consider a total world index the most logical starting point for a passive and unbiased stock investor? So I think this is his question, Brian, if I'm going to kind of lay it out differently. How should someone think about investing early on when they're just starting out? And then at what point does that change? And do they need to think about other things? And how should they think about those other things?
Yeah, we kind of, because the behavior of saving and investing is more important than where you put the money initially, because you're trying to build up to get to that mass point to where your money is growing upon itself. And it's going to take a while for that to happen. The first 10 years of you saving and investing will primarily be you, but it's that second decade, that third decade that is going to be more about what the investments are growing. So you can focus on the habit, focus on the behavior of getting the investing right. And that's why we cut through it all. And then I'm going to answer the question, but I'm going to go ahead and just for the people who want the answer immediately on the front end, just do an indexed, because they're going to be low cost, no commissions, target retirement fund. Fidelity, Vanguard, and Schwab have these.
Sure. And
so they're practically free. All you have to figure out is how much you can save, when you need it, and then they're going to do all the asset allocation stuff, because that's this question is actually an asset allocation question. So I don't care your age, because you're trying to do that in the beginning. Now, let's focus on and let's get technical. We talk about the S&P 500 all the time because it's a great indicator of just the U.S. economy. It's the 500 largest companies in the United States. It's a great one. It's easy to track. The data's been around forever, so you can use it. That's why we talk about it. And that is, I don't even mind sharing, personally, that's my largest monthly purchase.
Yep, same here.
But I don't, and this is something I had this discussion not too long ago with a client. Some people want that total market index because it does have more exposure to the mid cap and small cap of the U.S. market. So it is giving you more of a full 360 of what's going on domestically here in the United States. I would rather, because as you add complexity, and I'm talking about somebody who's built up enough assets that you're now getting into asset allocation outside of target retirement funds. I personally buy the S&P 500. I buy an international index. I buy a small cap index. And then those are, because I like the ability to adjust the asset allocation, to have the customization so you can loss harvest, so you can donate and tithe off of your charitable accounts by giving appreciated assets. There's a lot more control when you actually go into the specific investment types, the asset classes, than just doing a one and done. But I understand a lot of people would say, well, wait a minute, you just recommended one fund, an index target retirement fund, and now you're talking about all these planning opportunities. Yeah. In the beginning, it's the behavior that's important. Later, you're going to get technical, and that's where the abundance cycle hopefully builds that gap, or fills that gap.
In our opinion, a generalized solution generally works really, really well early on. But as you do mature in your financial journey, as the dollars do get bigger, as your situation gets more complex, you don't just want a generalized portfolio. You don't want a single fund or a single investment that does a bunch of different things. You want your investments to focus on doing one thing very, very well. So you often want your bond funds to specifically do well in that space. You want your U.S. large cap to do U.S. large cap. You want your international to do international. And what you can do is then you can pick the best indices or the best managers, and it does allow for other planning opportunities like loss harvesting, like charitable giving. But again, I don't think you should get so lost on that in the early stages. When it comes to starting out and you're just beginning to build your army of dollar bills, your savings rate is going to be exponentially more important than your rate of return. Whether you make 10% versus 12% should not be what motivates you. How you can save an extra 2%, 3%, 5% of your pay, That should be what gets you excited. That's where you should focus your energy. And that's why we love target retirement index funds, because it takes all the computation off your hands so you can focus on how many soldiers you're recruiting into your army of dollar bills.
I do want to make sure we don't leave it on the table, though. The question was specifically total world index.
Sure.
And here's the thing. Whenever you tell me total world index, how's that determined? Market cap? I mean, who's determined? Because if you're getting into a total world index type investment, somebody has to make the determine how much of that is United States, how much of that is Asia, how much of that is Europe, and that's too fractured for me. I don't want something that's so homogenous that I can't have control. If you're going to do a homogenous holding like a total world index, I'd much rather you do an index target retirement fund because it's going to be focused on you, on when you need the money in your risk profile and age versus this total world index is going to have somebody behind the scenes making decisions on how much of this part of the world gets into the index. That's not what I would want to buy.
Love it.